Oh. Prapanna parijataya stotravetraikapanai jnanamudraya krishnaya Geetāmritaduhe Maha. In this beautiful chapter 6 of Bhagavad Geetā, we just started in the last class the portion starting from the 10th verse, where Sri Krishna gives an outline of how we may meditate. Different aspects of dhyana, meditation, are given in 23 verses. After that, there are two questions asked by Arjuna, to which Lord Sri Krishna supplies his answers with all patience and with all care for his student. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stitaha. That's how it began. We must make time for meditation. We must connect ourselves to the pure self. We must stand apart from our personality, with which we are presently very identified. The gain and loss, the victory and defeat of our personality obsess us. We are all the time worried about the ups and downs of how we look at ourselves. What I mean is the image, what people think of us, and what we think of ourselves. And all of that comes down to a certain image, and Vedanta ruthlessly says, you are not that image. You actually are the light that illumines the image. You are the witnessing consciousness. You are the pure self. You are far more subtle than the body, the mind, the intellect, and so on. But ordinarily, all of us are immersed neck deep into endless concerns about our own image, which is much to do with the body and the mind. Body and mind are in us, but we are not the body and mind. In a shloka in Viveka Chudamani, it is said, the utterly gross people look at themselves as the body. A little mature spiritually think of themselves as the Jivatma, something that leaves one body and is reborn in another body. But the highest spiritual aspirants who have studied the pure Upanishadic wisdom know that they are neither the body nor the Jivatma, but beneath and behind the Jivatma, there is the Shuddha Atma, Asansari Atma, not transmigrating, having no birth, no death, no change. And thus, the word Atmanam in the 10th verse refers to that pure self. We must rise above the body, that's not enough. We must rise above even this idea that we are a transmigrating soul. All of them have relative validity. They look very real. They seem to be so valid. And 95% of the Vedas, meaning karma and upasana, talk about Jivatma. So we do punya karma, the Jivatma rises. We do papa karma, the Jivatma comes down, gets degraded. But the Upanishads, which in a manner of saying is 5% of the Vedas. The Upanishads, remember, are the part of Vedas, but their teachings point to the non-transmigrating pure self, asansari atma. Karmakanda refers to sansari atma. So these two should not be mixed up. Atmanam yunjita ekaki yatachittatma. Self-control is something where you cannot compromise with. One has to have a high degree of control over the senses, over the mind. Then we saw the 11th verse where Sri Krishna, starting his detailed dealing or detailed treatment of this topic of meditation, says one must sit at a very clean place. It should be shuchi. Shuchau deshe pratishtapya. One should sit steadily. One's asana, if one makes a seat for oneself, that should not be shaking. That should neither be at a height where in one moment of carelessness the meditator may fall off from there, nor should it be in a deep pit where some unwelcome guests like snakes or scorpions or some other creatures may come, especially referring to some natural surroundings. And then he recommends, these are not to be taken so literally, but he recommends, it's a good idea to have some grass upon which put a deer skin. For that, don't kill a deer. Deer die on their own. Then this snake, the skin of the deer may be used. And finally, on top, chaila is cloth. Continuing in this class, we see Lord Sri Krishna giving some useful tips on how we may handle our own mind. The seat, how the body should be, is a grosser aspect. The mind is a subtler aspect. So the 12th verse, Adi Shankara introduces it with just one word, pratishtapya. Pratishtapya kim, making the asana, making a nice place to sit at. What do we do next? Pratishtapya, asanam kritva, kim kuryat. That's where we have the 12th verse. Tatraikagram mana kritva, yata chittendriya kriyaha, upavishyasane yunjyat, yogamatma vishuddhaye. Having made the asana, upavishya, sit upon it. There was a boy in high school and his father was very generous and the father got him all kinds of books. Apart from the prescribed textbooks, he had many books which were called guides. Guide in science, guide to history, guide to mathematics. And his classmates used to envy him. Wow, you have so much of material. But the boy neither used those additional books nor studied even the main prescribed textbook. What would you expect him to achieve? In fact, his friends borrowed all his books and used them. So coming back, we make a very nice seat. We got grass, we got deer skin, we got a very soft, nice cloth, and the whole room for meditation is decorated beautifully. Only one problem. We never sit upon it. Sri Krishna says, Upavishya, please sit. Upavishya asane yunjya, practice yoga. Here yoga obviously is not asana or pranayama, it is meditation itself. And for that, Tatra, the shloka begins. There, at this place, ekagram manaha kritva, making our own mind single pointed. There is no other option. Some high philosophy may talk about how you just have to flow with things. Don't try to control the mind. Don't try to direct the mind. Go with the flow and so on. Those teachings have a certain validity at a certain height, but for beginners, those teachings cannot help. First of all, most people do not understand those teachings. What it is to just let go of even the sense of our being the controller of our mind. Just like in bhakti, the so-called para bhakti, where one completely surrenders to God and says, if God wants, He will make me meditate. I am not going to try to meditate. If one really has surrendered to God, saying like that, I am not going to put in effort. God will make me meditate. God will make me eat. God will make me sleep. It is God who makes me do anything and everything, good or bad, vulgar or noble, and so on and so forth. If one has that surrender, okay. But if we simply repeat those words and in a lot of other matters, imagine we actually choose all the time. There we don't say, we want to buy some fruits. Don't say, God will get me the best fruits. With eyes wide open and pressing and touching the fruits, we see, is this good? I want to pick up the best fruits today. I want to be careful. Over there, you exercise your choice, you exercise your will, you exercise your intelligence. So, don't be inconsistent. Only when it comes to spiritual practice, if you say, well, it will happen when God wills, God will tell you, you have to do your part over here. Therefore, manaha ekagram kritva, make your mind single pointed. Yata chitta indriya kriya, the kriya, the activities of both indriya and mind have to be gently controlled. We don't say you got to come down on the mind heavily with a big hammer in hand. We are not talking of some crude and rude and violent ways of controlling yourself. That, of course, is meaningless. But if you think that I don't have to do anything, everything will happen on its own, that's unintelligent. Yata chittendriya kriyaha yogam atma vishuddhaye. Once more, he says beautifully, it's all for inner purification. Day in and day out, we find we have many bad habits. Those bad habits are the ashuddhi. And Atma Vishuddhi is a certain consciousness that is free from bad habits. In true bad habits, we hurt ourselves, we hurt others. Suppose we have the bad habit of talking too much. Then, first of all, we waste so much of our energy and we cause disturbance to ourselves by unnecessarily going into too many details about some X or Y, like gossiping. And likewise, if we are too talkative and we do not have the quality of silence, at times at least, we hurt others. They get sick of us because we are continuously talking. Some people talk to the driver of the car and he gets distracted. Some people sitting at a hairdressing salon get into a conversation with the barber. And barbers are fond of talking anyhow at times. And in the process, sometimes when the barber is doing his job with scissors and other instruments. This person is talking and suddenly he laughs and he may get hurt also. At least don't talk when the barber is working. Don't talk much to the driver. Talk a little so that he is kept awake. Sometimes you have to talk to the driver so that he is awake. He is a bit sleepy. So we hurt ourselves, that is the point, through bad habits. And Sri Krishna is saying, if your meditation has to succeed, you have to control your bad habits. And then you become Vishuddha. Shankaracharya comments, Tatra means Tasmin Asane, Upavishya. The word Upavishya is from the shloka. Tasmin Asane is what Bhashyakara provides. Yogam Yunja. One must practice meditation. Katham, how? Sarva Vishayebhyaha Upasamhritya. It is these Vishayas, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa and Gandha. To have sound and touch and smell and taste and so Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa and form, colors and so on. Sometimes with our senses we see them, we experience them. Sometimes eyes are closed, but the mind remembers the fragrance, the delicious taste of some food. The mind remembers. Then also it is Vishaya. Vishaya is the enemy. Therefore, Amrita Bindu Upanishad says, Bandhaya Vishaya Saktam. The mind attached to sense objects causes bondage to a human being. Sarva Vishayebhyaha Upasamhritya Ekagram Manakritva Yata Chittendriya Kriyaha. That word is taken up. Chittam cha Indriyani cha. First there is a Dvandva Samasa. Mind and the senses. And then there is a Tatpurusha Samasa. Tesham Kriyaha. Activities of them. When you have a word like Rajaputra, it is an example given for Tatpurusha Samasa. Rajaputra, prince. How did that word come? Rajnaha Putra. The son of the king. Likewise, the activities of mind and senses. Sanyata. Yata, Sanyata, well controlled. We must control the activities of our senses and mind. Everywhere there has to be some effort from our side. Then God's grace will come to us. I have no doubt about it. Somebody asked Dr. Dikshit in Pune, who prescribes a certain diet for bringing down blood glucose. In that diet, you are not supposed to take coffee or tea with milk. And most people, most of us Indians are so used to tea or coffee with milk. Cannot imagine black coffee. And they asked Dr. Dikshit, how do we get to drink this black tea without milk? He smiled and said, very simple. Do it for some 11 days. On the 12th day, you will not feel like having tea with milk. You will get so used to tea without milk. Even if offered, you say, no, can I get black tea? Your choice, your preference will become black tea. So, don't think our habits are impossible to give up. We can end even strongly rooted habits. The definition of habit is what we do mechanically. The moment you do something consciously, something with full awareness, it is not a habit anymore. Once somebody asked J. Krishnamurti, how do we free ourselves of habits? And he answered in a way which many would not understand. He said, I'll show you just now. The man said, okay, I'm ready. Lift your hand with all awareness. Be aware of the hand coming up. He, that man who came to visit, raised his hand fully of being aware of the hand. Then J. Krishnamurti said, now bring the hand down also with awareness. Knowing what one is doing, feeling one's hand coming down, the person put it down. He said, this is the way. If you do things with awareness, habits die. In awareness, the stupidity, the silliness, the contradiction, the foolishness of what you are doing becomes so clear to you, you will not do it at all. So Sri Shankaracharya says, Saha kimartam yogam yunjat. Why should this spiritual seeker do meditation? Then draws from Sri Krishna, Atma Vishuddhaye. Atma here is not samsari Atma, not asamsari Atma. It is Antakarana. The word Atma can be used on 10 levels, different levels. At the ultimate level, it is that all-pervasive, pure self that has no birth, no death, that does not change. But at places like this, it's a lower meaning. And in this place it is, Atma is Antakarana. Antakaranasya Vishuddhartham. Antakarana is our Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. All of these have impurities. And meditation is a great way to eliminate impurities. Just as in modern medicine, Western medicine, there are some powerful chemicals which can bring your blood glucose down, which can increase some secretions of various hormones and decrease certain ingredients in your blood or in your urine or in your wherever in the body. It causes changes, chemical changes in the body if you gobble this chemical. Western medicine is so much into varieties of chemicals. In the Ayurveda, we have various rasayanas, some potions, some juices, something which is made with maybe pounding some fruit or some seeds or some roots of some plants or trees. They take some leaves from certain plants and pound those leaves and extract some juice. And you take that juice, you will find inside you changes take place. So here it is said, your impurities, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, varieties of fact, it's not only those impurities, but even confused thinking, unclear perceptions, erroneous perceptions, wrong perceptions, mistaking a good person to be a bad person and the other way around, mistaking a bad person to be very good and seek his friendship. These are all ashuddhi, and we need Atma Shuddhi. And now again coming to a little grosser dimension of meditation, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, connecting it, there are a couple of words by Adi Shankaracharya. Bhahyam asanam uktam, says Bhashyakara. Bhahyam asanam uktam. The seat you have to prepare was talked about in the 11th verse. Adhuna sharirasya dharanam katham iti uchyate. How are we to keep our own body How are we to sit? The asana chailajina pushottaram nati nicham nati uchritam was said. So there is the 13th verse, which is about how we may keep our body erect or bent, etc. And then 14th also we shall see together, where certain advice again is given on condition of the mind. So let me read 13 and 14. Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayan achalam stiraha samprekshya nasikagram swam dishascha anavalokayan prashantatma vigatabhihi brahmachari vrate stitah manas संयम्य मच्चित्तो yukta asita matparaha. Look simple, these points, but these are extremely important. If somebody takes for granted that, oh, I sit in a proper way, oh yeah, I'm living a proper life. No, how you sit, how you prepare, and how you spend other hours of the day other than the time when you sit for meditation. All of them have a bearing on how effective your meditation will be. There is this expression, samam kaya shiro griva. Griva is neck, shira is head, and kaya by context is rest of the body. So head, neck, and below the neck, the trunk, samam means they should be in one line. They should be aligned. Therefore, the question of meditating with head down or head leaning to one of the sides is ruled out. Swami Chinmayananda used to roar and say to his audiences, don't sit like a question mark, he would say, because some people, even while listening to Vedanta slow and in such a way, a photograph taken from the side would show them like a question mark. They would look like a question mark. Don't sit like a question mark. They would straighten up, they become an exclamation mark in the process. Kaya shiro grivam samam kritva dharayan, keeping such a posture, dharana, achalam stira. Keep your body, keep your whole physique without any movement and keep it very steady. Because you say, I am not moving. But then, how long? 2 minutes you find you are moving. Therefore, don't move and don't move for a length of time. If you are meditating for 20 minutes, for an example, all those 20 minutes, no movement at all. Sri Shankaracharya will explain these words. Sri Krishna on his part gives a few more tips. Samprekshya nasikagram swam. In a manner of saying, I'm saying in a manner of saying because you will see in the Shankara Bhāshya, Sri Shankaracharya makes a clarification. But before that, nasikagra, tip of the nose. And once on, there's no question of trying to focus on somebody's tip of the nose. So, looking at, concentrating on one's own tip of nose, and Adi Shankara will, when we go there, we'll see that this is not to be taken literally. It is more to signify that the mind should not run here and there. Then what should be our point of concentration? He says, as the successive verses will clarify, we must actually concentrate not on tip of the nose, but on our true nature, our pure self. Then why is tip of the nose mentioned? On the way to that higher concentration, initially, withdraw your mind, withdraw your attention and focus on tip of the nose or maybe midpoint between the two brows, or in some forms of meditation, imagine at the center of your own heart, your own chest, inside your chest, imagine a lotus bud. A lotus bud may be turned upside down. There are such descriptions given in various spiritual literature. So Adi Shankara clarifies that these are not to be literally taken, or even if you take it literally, fine, but don't get stuck there. Move on to concentrate on the pure self as you have understood through scriptural study. Samprekshya nasikagram swam. To prevent anybody from not understanding it adequately, Sri Krishna himself says what it means is Dishaha Anavalokayan. Avalokayan means seeing here, seeing there. As you are meditating, don't open your eyes and look around. Is somebody around? Is somebody watching me? Especially if you are sitting in a park, if you are sitting by side of a river, if you go to some very peaceful place like a Ramakrishna Mission Center, inside their meditation hall or outside also on the lawn or maybe on a bench, you could be meditating. And unnecessarily, every 2 minutes you open the eyes and wonder whether somebody is watching. No. If you are so bothered about whether somebody is watching, don't sit like that in open places. Sit at your own home, sit at some place where nobody comes. Either way, Dishaha cha anavalokayan. Not turning your glance in this or that direction. And then, as we said, the 14th verse talks about certain inner adjustments. Prashantatma. Atma here is in the general sense of oneself. Make yourself prashant. Vigata bhi. Let go of all fears. No doubt in life you and I have some fears. Some fear or the other from childhood till our old age. We are always afraid of something unpleasant that could happen. Even as we are heading towards the railway station or to the airport, we are afraid. If there is some traffic on the way, oh, I may miss my train. I may miss my flight. The fear is natural. But when you are meditating, suppose you are going in a taxi to the airport. Once in a while, yes, be aware. Otherwise, be in prayer for short periods of time. That time, vigata bhi. You have told the driver what time you need to reach. He'll look after it. Trust him. Once in a little while, after meditating for 20 minutes, you may just check where you have come and you may ask the driver, oh, will we reach well in time? That's okay. But not being restless. Vigata bhi. What I mean is, you can't eliminate fear so easily from life. But during short periods of time, put it to the back seat at least. Brahmachari vrate stitaha. This brahmacharya has many meanings, and here the word would be to live like a very devoted student. Student life. In student life, one puts pleasure or earning money, etc., to the back seat. One says, well, I will earn money. I will enjoy life later on. Right now, I need to study all this. I need to serve my teachers. I need to follow the rules of the ashram. In olden days, student life meant Gurukula Vasa, Brahmachari Vrate Sthita. Therefore, as appropriate to a Gurukula Vasi, Gurukula Antevasi. Antevasi means inmate. In English, if you use the word inmate, unless the context is clear, some people will mistake it to be inmates of some jail. Jail inmates, that's one usage. So we need to clarify the inmates of this ashram. Basically, inmate is somebody who lives within the campus, not a day scholar, not somebody who stays outside, comes for a few hours to attend classes, then again goes and God knows what he or she does outside. Here it is, always under the observation of gurus. Manas sanyamya machittaha yukta asita matparaha. Control your mind, be devoted to me. There are two words, machittaha and matparaha. One is through heart, the second is through head. Put your head and heart at my feet. Love me and respect me. You and I also are very delighted when we receive both love and respect. Sometimes people love us, but they don't respect us. Some other time they respect us, but they don't have the sentiment of love towards us. If we receive love and respect both, we are so delighted. So is Lord Krishna. Machittaha is we must love God. Matparaha is we must hold God in highest reverence. Taking a look at Adi Shankaracharya's commentaries for both 13 and 14 shloka numbers. Samam kaya shirogrivam. That's the word in the shloka. Bhagavan Bhashyakara says, Kayascha, Shirascha, Grivascha. For Griva is, I think, Grivan word, just as Atman becomes Atma. Grivan becomes Griva. Kayascha, Shirascha, Grivacha. Kaya Shiro Grivam. That becomes a samasa, what they call Samahara Dvandva. In Samahara Dvandva, one of the two main kinds of Dvandva Samasa, though there are several components in the word finally is put in singular, it is used in singular case. Singular number, Ekavachana. The best example is Panipadam. Panipadam prakshalya agacchatu. You tell somebody, please come after washing your feet and hands. Pani, 2 hands, pada, 2 feet. So make it 4. But the word grammatically is put in singular. Panipadam prakshalya agacchatu bhavan. Likewise, kaya shiro grivam. The body, the neck and the head in one line. Dharayan, samam dharayan. Dharayan goes especially with samam. Keeping them in one line. Achalancha, without moving. Samam dharayata. Somebody may keep body, neck and head in one line, but keeping them in one line like that, so that straight line itself moves. Therefore it is said, achalam. And further, stiraha. Stay there like that. Don't say, look, I am not moving. And after somebody checks, next moment this fellow moved. Steady. Don't move. Keep in that posture. Swam nasikagram samprekshya samyak prekshanam darshanam kritva iva. There is no iva in the shloka, but Bhagavan Bhashyakara adds iva and says iva iti iva shabdaha luptaha drashtavyaha. You must regard that iva. Iva means as though. You must look at a word iva as though not mentioned but present. Why? Because the science of meditation doesn't make a big issue of looking at tip of one's nose. Somebody may do it, but eventually she or he has to move on to higher forms, higher levels of meditation. Sri Shankaracharya clarifies, Nahi swa nasikagra samprekshanam iha viditsitavam. Sri Krishna doesn't desire to make an injunction which is never to be violated. No. Viditsitam, vidihi ipsitam, this is a desiderative. He doesn't desire to, he doesn't wish to, he doesn't mean to. The best would be the mean. He doesn't mean to make this as a inviolable injunction. Why? What he means is chakshushoho drishti sannipataha. So the eyes also may have some unrest. The eyes, even though we have closed the eyelids, inwardly also the eyes have to be prevented from going outward. With the eyelids closed also we can have some movement inside, right? Not to have such movements. Chakshushoho drishti sannipata. Sacha, so what it means is it is meant for it. What is the purpose? Bhashyakara says, Sacha antakarana samadhana apeksha vivakshita. The idea of saying this, concentrate on the tip of your nose, is to bring about the coming together of mind. Mind should not get scattered. Samadhana, coming together. Swanasikagra samprekshanameva chet vivakshitam manaha tatra eva samadhiyeta. If Sri Krishna had literally meant, when I say tip of the nose, I mean tip of the nose, don't interpret it further. Suppose that was the meaning, then Bhagavan Bhashyakara says, if one were to go so hard on tip of the nose, then the mind will merge in the nose. It won't merge in the pure self. Manaha tatra eva, nasikagre eva, samadhiyeta. Its concentration, its absorption, its merging would be in the nose. Na atmani. Then the very object of pure meditation is lost. Atmani hi manasaha samadhanam pakshyati. Down, if we go in another shloka, namely 25th shloka, Sri Krishna says, Atma samstam manakritva. And finally, with all this being preliminary steps, the mind has to abide in the pure self. Atma samstam manakritva nakinchidapi chintayet. We will have a line like that. Tasmad iva shabdalopena akshnoho. Akshnoho means chakshushoho. Drishti sannipataha eva samprekshya iti uchyate. It's to stop the restless movements of the eyeballs, even if the eyelids are closed. So, uchyate. Dishascha anavaloke, dishancha avalokanam antara akurvan. In between, don't become concerned with what's happening behind. I hear some sound. What's happening to my right side? I think something is moving there. Why bother? You mind your meditation. Likewise, talking about the 14th verse, Bhashyakara says some simple clarifications. Prashantatma, prakarshena shanta. Shanta itself means calm. Prashanta means very calm, made very calm. Yasya soyam prashantatma. Vigata bhihi, free of fear. Brahmachari vrate stitaha. Brahmacharyam guru shushrusha ikshanna bhuktyadi. So the student life should avoid all these hassles like working to earn and going after more earning and so on. Therefore, the tradition was a brahmachari would eat what he gets out of begging alms. Or the Gurukula has some system, food is provided. Tasmin stitaha anushtata bhavet ityartha. Same way, manas sanyamya, manasaha vrittihi upasamvritya. Thoughts tend to go towards this object, that object. Be gentle to yourself, gentle but firm. Withdraw them, withdraw them. And thus, two words are used finally, yukta asita matpara. Interestingly, this yukta asita matpara appeared in the second chapter, 65th verse. You had, or not 65th, in fact it is 61. In Sthita Prajna Lakshana portion, Sri Krishna had said, yes, the senses are turbulent. Still, put in effort, withdraw them, and stay in my contemplation. Holding God is the best way of controlling our own indriyas, senses. So, Bhashya says here, goes further, makes a contrast between those two words, mat paraha and mat chittaha. Mat paraha, ham paraha yasya, soyam mat paraha. Because sometimes there may be a man who is attracted to women. Shankaracharya says here, bhavati kaschit ragi stri chittaha, natu striyameva paratvena grana. He may not revere women, but he is attracted to women. And at the same time, he may highly respect the king of the country, but he may not have love for the king in his heart. Just as you may respect some scientist who discovered certain things, got a Nobel Prize for physics or chemistry. Oh, what a knowledge he has. You respect, but you don't have love for him. Somewhere else you may love your uncle or a grandmother, but may not have what we call respect in the head. So as we earlier had said, Matchittaha Matparaha together mean both head and heart are for the Lord. Thus, the sum and substance of all this is meditation will go on well if we hold God, if we are devoted to God. Then God blesses us with greater success in the effort. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.